Good morning. Welcome to our Asia CEO community and CsuiteXchange podcast today. I'm Teddy. Nice to meet you. Sorry, this is Ryan.
Hi everyone, I'm Ryan.
Ryan is a CEO and founder of the AcroGrowth Group. So today we are very honored to learn something from Ryan.
Thanks.
So can I ask you something?
Yes.
Can you describe a little bit about your group?
Okay, so what we do is actually quite simple. We help companies find their niche, for example, whether it's a specific product that they have, a specific service that they have, and after that niche, we use that to help them find investors and help them do specific marketing campaigns on that niche in different countries across Asia.
Right, so you are a great marketing company, right?
Yes,
so
I like to think so.
So in that case, talent is very important towards your growth and company success, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of attribute you really like to acquire those talents?
I think that, so first of all, I think talent is actually quite hard for us to acquire because nowadays the talents always go to the big companies like yours. But like for myself, it's hard for me to find talent. So sometimes the things that I look specifically for are maybe people who know how to self-educate, so they know how to learn themselves, they know how to acquire new skills, because honestly, I can't really find the best people in the market, but if people are able to learn themselves, learn on their own, then for me that's the most important thing.
Well, that means you're looking for somebody who really can learn,
yes,
regenerate themselves, right?
Yes,
growth
yes,
themselves.
yes.
So is it a competence or some kind of attitude you're looking forward to?
I would say it's more like an attitude because a lot of times that whether or not they have the skill is just a temporary thing. But if they have the attitude to learn, then I think that's way more important.
So people with inquisitive mindset,
yes,
more curious, maybe it's more about,
yes,
people that
curious and then willing to learn. But then, speaking of attitude,
right.
I do have something to share because recently I've realized that a lot of people are very pushing this positive attitude thing, positivity, and then in work, especially for entrepreneurship. But I think that's sometimes quite dangerous because I see that sometimes people get a bit delusional, as in they might be doing that thing for 10 years and everybody is telling them that that's the wrong way to go. But then they're saying, oh, I have a positive mindset, I know that I will succeed in this market. So I think that's something that maybe we can learn more from is mistakes.
Okay.
We can listen more to what customers want instead of blindly being positive. So, so I think attitude-wise, that's something quite important that I'd like to share.
So apart from attitude, that's another A, got agility then, right?
Agility, oh yeah, yes. I already have that.
Right? So that means that people nowadays need to be very agile and adapt to the market, right? So the market change, despite your good vision,
yes,
you still have to change, right?
Yes.
So besides these things, do you think creativity, innovation is something that you need?
For me, what I do, definitely. But then I think it's quite hard because nowadays, every time you think that you have something very creative, somebody in the market has already done it. So I think it's like a blend between agility and creativity. So even though you have the best ideas in the world, you have to make sure to execute it as soon as possible.
Talking about execution here. How do you see people execution? People want to say people idea is cheap, right? Execution is the
yes.
If execution that means nothing.
Yeah.
So how do you drive your team to execute?
I think we're trying very hard right now to make sure that our because our team is rather young, so to tie their maybe monetary returns with what they do. That this is what we do. For example, if it's a marketing company, so we're a marketing company. We usually tie the client's KPIs with our job performance. So if they help the client find more other clients, more money, then they will have better monetary returns. That's what I'm doing right now. But in terms of like attitude or mindset-wise, how to drive them, I don't really have a conclusion yet. So I'm still exploring.
Well, let me try to explore a little bit. Okay, we're talking about execution here. Talk about you give them reward, incentive, so they can move on the way they want to, align with the company's goal.
Yes.
So this is kind of COVID. We all know that. It's like I'm just being with mask. No creation. So what COVID did to your company then?
I would say, luckily, it's more positives than negatives because over the past 2 to 3 years that we've been growing this company, I've always branded ourselves as like problem solvers. So nowadays, whenever our older clients or new acquaintances, they know that we are the go-to people to find whenever they encounter a problem. So that part of the equation is what is helping us right now. But obviously, we do have limitations. For example, if we want to help people expand to different countries, we can't even fly, we can't even communicate with them, we can't go to site visits. Because I still believe that physical visits to different places is quite important, and that's something that has hindered us quite a bit.
Oh, I see. So in that case, COVID is always said to be the drive of the transition.
Yes.
Do you agree?
I agree. Yes, I do agree. For example, I don't really have to because my office is in Kuntong, and then sometimes if my clients are very far away, I now have an excuse to just, hey, let's just do a video meeting instead of me traveling 2 hours to your place and going 2 hours back. So that's quite a good excuse for us to transition to a more convenient way of communicating with different people.
So with this kind of behavior now, be a sustainable one in future, changing our role, our jobs, behavior in the long run, would that hit on your company's behavior as well?
I guess so, but then I think it's not really a hit. I think it's just whether or not we can adapt to this change. Yeah.
So the behavior will be changed. Will it be permanent, or do you think it's a temporary thing?
I think it will be permanent. Yeah, I think it will be permanent. Maybe a blend between the two, but then I do think some companies are really trying hard to transform into this like new era.
Okay. So as an entrepreneur, what is your vision then?
My personal vision is actually quite ambitious. I aim to solve like one global problem, whether it's cancer, whether it's global warming. I aim to solve one global problem, but I haven't decided on which one yet because I still need to gain the experience to make sure that I have enough people I know to achieve what I want to achieve.
Wow, you have a really big goal, right? I mean, that's really so a global goal.
Yes.
That's a London goal.
Yes.
So with your company, you still have your vision for your company as a London firm.
Yes.
What you actually aspire to.
Yeah, sorry for talking about myself too.
It's okay, right? It's okay because you, right? It's your CEO,
yeah.
right? You drive the company, you want the company going that way.
Yeah.
And your company will do a lot of sales something or CSV, we call it creating shared value. So what is the value underlying yourself so that drive yourself in your company, drive the team towards that goal, and as well achieving your global goal?
I think one of the main things why I do marketing is because I believe that there are a lot of great projects around the world. But not all projects have the funding like Elon Musk or like Apple to do great things. So that's why I want to help the great projects find, first of all, the funding, and secondly, to help them market to the world, because not everyone has the access to these kind of stuff. So I don't always do like the biggest clients because I believe that they don't need my help that much, but I want to help great projects. So because I don't really have the skill set to always find great projects to work on myself. So rather, I'd like to find great clients to work with and help them expand to different parts of the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we always know that, I mean, Hannah kind of said that, right? We are not going to do just a little bit, right? Together, do more. So
Yes,
how do you engage your team to do that thing together? You know, spearheading your resources, doing something along with your goal and vision, so that company will do that. How do you engage them? How do you motivate them?
I think my style of motivating people is just to do it together with them.
Okay,
yes,
right?
get my hands dirty and then get down to earth and work with them. But then I realized that nowadays to lead a young team, it's very important to be friends with them because this is something that I'm not too comfortable with at first. Because I don't really know, because at the beginning, when they after work, they all go out for dinner and play around with each other. Because I'm not too comfortable having to go out with colleagues because it feels like I'm working all day. I go to work, I see them, I go off work, I still see the same group of people. Sometimes I don't feel too comfortable with this, but I realized that if I become close with them, they open up on a lot of things. They suggest different ideas, they tell me that that other person isn't too happy about something, and then I can solve it the next day, and then it just goes way faster. So I think this is something that I'm learning to do I think the new generation, myself included, actually wants to be friends with people they work with in order for them to be more efficient at work.
What do you think are the youngsters looking for? What they aspire to be?
What they aspire to be, I think it's less monetary nowadays. Seriously, what they're looking for is to become the people that they want to become. So, those are usually people who are more socially aware of what's happening in the world, and maybe to make people around them proud of that person. So, if it's myself, I would like to make people around me proud of knowing me, maybe. And then for my colleagues, they always share that they want to make sure that people don't think that they are like the rubbish teams, or they're really useful for society. Yeah.
So according to Maslow, that will be the tip top, right? On top of that, as
self-actualization,
right?
Yeah.
So look forward to, myself, me,
Yes.
because me that you're looking at, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Me that you value,
Yes.
me that you want to be friend with, right?
Yes.
So not just salary.
Not just salary. In fact, because some of my colleagues, I'm quite shocked about this. They use a big part of the salary to spend on learning, which is something that I'm very happy about. And it's not really like learning how to run a business, how to do something. It's just learning. For example, if they want to be like amateur athletes, they pay a lot of money to become great athletes. They want to dunk, or sometimes they pay to learn, continue learning the instruments that they've been playing all their lives. So they're still paying for these kind of things. So I'm quite surprised about this.
Okay, so learning, talk about learning. How do you see learning as a instrument for development?
I think the two sides to this. I think first of all is like external learning for themselves, how they learn on YouTube, how to do certain tasks. I think that's very important. That's actually one of the main things that I ask in interviews, is whether or not they have learned a skill only online or just on their own, or if they're willing to pay to learn a skill. But the other thing is, like you said, an instrument, a tool. I think internally it's actually quite important, because our company, we're not like a big company. We have like only maybe 12 or 13 people in Hong Kong. But then we also do weekly trainings, internal trainings, to make sure that, first of all, obviously that they do their work better. But secondly, they have like a sense of community, they have like a sense of teaching each other, and that really helps a lot. So I think learning is actually quite important.
Well, you can learn everything. But how to try to motivate people to learn something that's relevant to themselves and relevant to your company? We have to learn as part of learning the aid to help the company grow together, right? So how can you do that?
I think I would. The only reason why they would want to learn is when they feel like they're not good enough for something, right? So maybe I would subtly, in meetings or in different situations, let them know that if you want to get to another level, and tie that to their own self-identity. So if they want to become the better self, then they need to learn this to achieve that, instead of learning how to, I don't know, just useless knowledge.
So will your company provide some kind of assistance or subsidies or incentive to try to learn something that will be focus on the business area?
Yes, we actually do like a year. We have a yearly budget for them to pay and learn different stuff. But obviously they've said that budget isn't really enough for even the course. So I'm just still trying hard to make this a reality. But then that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay. So what kind of skills that you want to really push that on?
I think it's project management. Quite specific, because I don't want to be the one managing all projects for like 20 years. I want to eventually guide all of them to become leaders. But now, because they are like the earlier employees that we have, and eventually some of them are becoming managers, and maybe when we hire more people, then they need to know how to manage different projects, because they are very good at executing like skill stuff, maybe video editing, animations, or those kind of things. But then once they have to manage different people, it's way harder for them. We have a manager. Our team lead is actually younger than I am. He's 24. But then we once had an employee who's a bit older than he is, and then that employee always tries to find ways to exploit his manager, because he's just a young boy. I know how to exploit him. And then obviously that didn't work out well, but then I think it's very important to teach them how to manage people, manage projects. It's quite a difficult thing to do.
Right, except leadership and management is really difficult.
Yeah.
But just something.
Yes.
So what do you think, how you lead? Do you leading good, or do you still have some room for improvement for yourself?
I have lots of room for improvement. I think it's hard for me personally to balance between being a friend and sometimes being assertive and telling them what to do. Because I think we need both roles, but then sometimes they might think that I'm quite lenient, but then another day they might, I don't want them to feel that it's because of my mood. It's not because of my mood, it's just because of what's important and what's less important. And that's something I'm still trying hard to learn.
Being leader is really difficult.
Yes, very difficult.
Particularly in this COVID time.
Yes.
This is going down.
Yes.
So how you actually look for the beacon to drive people, say this is the vision we want. How you cascade this kind of vision to your team? How do you move them together? Can you elaborate a little bit?
I think it's their belief in what we're doing, because right now I'm trying very hard to make sure that I don't have to cut their salaries, or I don't have to cut anyone. So that's one thing that they already noticed, because they see that other companies are cutting people, but we're not. And then that's how they believe in what we're going towards, because they believe that this direction is going to help them. And another thing is just to make sure that everyone is in on the decision making, because I don't really make sure that I'm the final decision maker. Actually, I do, because design thinking is something that we do a lot.
Okay, that's great.
So then during your brainstorming sessions or during meetings, we always make sure that everyone has to say. So when everyone has a say, their commitment is way bigger, because they will think that this is a collective decision that we did together. So I think this is what I try to do, is to make sure that everyone has said some things very concretely themselves, so that I can use that against them later on in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
So compared to you, I'm just an employee. Right? So you are an entrepreneur. How come you become an entrepreneur? Why did you become an entrepreneur?
I think I did want to become like yourself. I wanted to become like a great employee in a big company when I graduated. But then I think one of the reasons why I didn't do that is because I wasn't like a top-notch student at my university. So the best jobs were already occupied by those. And then I was thinking, if I wanted to become influential, I've always wanted to become influential, I just didn't know how. I've realized that the only way for me was to become an entrepreneur, because I'm definitely not the top 1% in the city. So that was the only way that I could go. And another thing is because there was this funny experience I had when I was doing an internship during my final year, is that my colleagues were very good, my boss was very good, everyone was very nice to me, but then I just didn't enjoy going to work. Okay. So I felt like this was quite... Yeah, because this was quite eye-opening for me, because everyone said that they didn't want to go to work because of the people. But everyone there were very nice. I just didn't want to go there. So I thought this might be like a turning point for me to decide on maybe I should start a business.
So if you ask you to give a word to our young entrepreneur coming out, what kind of advice would you give to our young entrepreneur?
Fast. You need to work fast, you need to execute fast, everything is about speed, otherwise other people will just steal your idea.
So being fast is very important
yes,
in the future, right?
Yes, that's my word.
So thank you. Right, I learned that from you, right? Really good talk.
Yeah, good talk. Thank you.
To meet you more and learn more.
Yeah. Thank you. Let's do it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.